you know, it's really hard, especially around Christmas time. By the way, I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas. This gets me thinking, and my son is way too young right now to even play with an RC car, so I got out my own. What is up, YouTube, and welcome to Jerry Jr.'s Garage. Today we're going to be talking about the glory days of Tyco RC, or consumer grade, toy grade, radio controlled vehicles.
Thanks to rechargeable 9.6 speed power. You want speed? Kick in the turbo control and get a full 9.6 speed power jolt that'll outrun the competition on or off the road. That's 9.6 speed. New 9.6 speed turbo hopper, and only Tyco makes it.
When it comes to Christmas time, it doesn't matter how old you are, you're going to remember an RC car, but it's extremely difficult to talk about how amazing it was back in the day when the RC cars were just so realistic. And it all began with this, the Tyco Turbo Hopper. And in this video, I'm going to be focusing on mainly the ones that came with the battery packs. And that's where I think it all changed for Tyco or toy grade RC. Now, some of the major RC cars back in the day that I think were awesome are Nico, Radio Shack, and Tyco. But like I said, this video is going to be mainly focused on Tyco. Now, we all remember Home Alone, or the movie Days of Thunder featuring Tom Cruise, which made its debut in 1990. And not only in 1990 was it the glory days for the movies, but I think Tyco RC was also up and coming. And it was almost virtually impossible, it seemed like, anyways, for these things to go away. But the reality of it is the quality and the R&D and all the licensing agreements and everything would later on eventually catch up to them as a brand. But still to this day, a lot of these RC cars are running. And if you have an RC car today, you can still get these battery packs. Granted, the gauge of the wire is a little thinner and things like that than it used to be, but I'm going to put a link in the description below. This one is made by Tenergy. It's a 2000 mAh battery pack, 9.6 volt, and there's also some 7.2s and things like that. We're going to be doing a little unofficial racing because I want to make this fun and not too technical, but add some technical stuff in there for us old guys like myself. In the lineup, we got the Ferrari 348. The 9.6 volt twin turbo dual motor aero hopper, the Miller Genuine Draft twin turbo Indy car, the Lamborghini Countach, the Marlboro Indy car, also twin turbo. Alright, first up we have the Tyco Wild Thing and the Tyco Hijacker, both 9.6 volt battery pack vehicles. These are also the newest Tycos that we will be racing here today. Let's meet the drivers. Me, myself, with all my years and years of experience, and my wife here, and her years of experience, and my infant son, who obviously won't be driving. On your marks, get set, go! Okay, so unfortunately these are way too fast to actually get a race, and we can't go to the track today because it's getting dark out. So we've got the twin turbo. I'm going to be driving it alone and not racing since there's too many curves around here, and these are just far too fast. They're going to destroy into pieces if we hit something. Yeah, look at that. So fast, isn't it? See, on the track you can't hit anything. Oops. Turn around.
turbo. Second.
All right, originally we were going to be running those as we did, and then the IndyCar 127 and 149 megahertz. We could run the IndyCars together. These are all, these two, and that one are all twin turbo cars, so these are going to be really close in speed. The twin turbo IndyCar, we were going to race up against the Lambo and the Ferrari, which is also twin turbo, as well as the twin turbo Aero Hopper. That one has bad wheels, so we can't really race it. The other ones wouldn't compare with speed, so that's why we went with these. Well, that didn't really go as planned, but we made the best of the situation, or at least I thought we did. And we did get one race in. We raced the Tyco Wild Thing against the Tyco Hijacker. These are both 9.6 volt. These aren't the twin turbo versions. Twin turbo means two motors, dual motors. So whenever you hear me say that in this video, that's what we're going for. Some of the factors, the reason why we didn't go and race the twin turbo ones is because the electromagnetic steering in these cars, what that means is you press left and it's full on left. It goes all the way left. You press right, it goes all the way right. Now, when it comes to toy grade RCs, I know Nico and Radio Shack, some of their things were digital proportional. That was a big deal in the toy grade world. If you were a kid and you knew what digital proportional was, back in the day, I mean, that really meant you knew your stuff, as far as I'm concerned anyways. But I wanted to get an unbiased opinion of my wife's here. So put yourself in the moment, you know, between 87 and 92, and you're, you know, 8 to 13 years old, let's say, and it's Christmas Day, you get one of these toys, and the parents were smart enough to get the battery pack and charger, so it's up early.
They're a lot faster than I expected them to be, honestly, for a toy. They're a lot of fun. Hard to control.
Easy
I run
to smack
into
the
a
wall.
lot of things.
Yeah. We were orchestrating this like, oh, we're going to go to the track. It's going to be like this. You know, it's going to be awesome. We'll get it all on video. And it's extremely hard to capture any or all of this on video. Especially, we're just doing this with the phone. So, but at least if we would have gotten the track, we wouldn't have been able to hit anything with the twin turbo ones. Although, like, some of the people watching this video right now, they're probably just going to be like, well, you get to buy another RC car, you know?
Always an excuse to buy another RC car.
This is something that kind of just happened. I didn't really plan on getting this deep into Tycos, but I just think it's just a branch of any car or auto enthusiast, and thought it'd be cool to make a video on it. And back in the day, the neon, I just think the neon is awesome, and it's kind of coming back nowadays too, as far as I'm concerned. They didn't have Photoshop. They actually had to draw. They would take a picture of like a dune buggy in the sand dunes, and then they would have to pay these artists to draw over it. On top of, you know, you got beer advertisements on the IndyCar, and as well as the Marlboro IndyCar cigarette packaging, which I guess that wasn't really didn't really set too well back in the day. So with the parents, as you would expect. But that was a ton of fun. I'm sorry this video is a little bit butchered, but you know, it is what it is. Most, if not all of these cars in here are the 9.6 volt battery pack cars. So what is your favorite one out of these ones that we had brought to the track? Maybe we didn't actually drive all of them, but for the most part, I tested all of them at least. And it's amazing, they still work, you know, but a lot of times that's the case with these Tyco, Radio Shack, or Nikos that are getting old. They still work.
I think the favorite that I drove would have been the Hijacker, just because it was a little bit slower, so I could actually keep up with it. But out of all of them, the one that I think I would want to drive the most would have been one of the Indy cars, just because they seem to drive straighter and truer.
And those are extremely fast. I believe it was, I don't know what the advertised speed was. I didn't do one of those checker things. I know there's people that do that on YouTube and whatnot. But I think they go 19 miles an hour, I think is what I've heard. Which is
fast.
Which is pretty fast for a toy grade RC. And keep in mind that electromagnetic steering has you going full left or full right. So it's really easy to spin out or lose control. Another thing I didn't touch on was, as Tyco got into the early 90s, they did cool stuff, and that's why you see this guy's head move back and forth, left and right. Wherever you're steering, that's where the head goes. And this one, the body pops up on, which is really cool.
That is really cool.
You press a button and the body pops up. And they all have a low and a high gear on the back of the gearbox, so just adds to the excitement. So technically they're 4 speeds. You can find these all over the place, whether it be Facebook Marketplace, eBay, garage sales, things like that. There's still plenty floating around. But when it comes to price, you can almost buy a hobby grade RC car today for the price of some of these used. These Tyco or Nico or Radio Shack used, which is pretty crazy. But if you're careful, you can get some fun vintage fast speed in for the same price as, a decent RC car today. So they really do hold their own. It doesn't really matter. The glory days, in my opinion, for Tyco RC as a brand are between 1987 and roughly 1992, I would say. So in 1990, the Toy Fair, I think it's called the the American International Toy Fair in New York, located in New York, which is still to this day going on, must have been a really exciting time for Tyco RC. I mean, they spent a ton of money, R&D, getting these just right for the consumer grade. And like I said, between consumer and toy grade, these RC cars were not like what is out there today. Before the battery pack cars came out, they required 8 AA batteries, and it seemed as if they resembled almost exactly, down to the decals, an actual real-life car, which I just think is really awesome. Even this 4-wheel drive truck is actually 4-wheel drive and resembles an actual desert race truck. Here's one of the first 9.6 volt buggies, which you're going to see resemble more of a hobby grade car, but I believe this is kind of more of a transition point as well for Tyco. Next up, we have a Ferrari F40 1/18 scale, relatively small for a 9.6 volt battery pack car and very fast. Released in 1989 for $43.89. Next up, it's one we've probably all heard of, the Lamborghini Countach. This would be the twin turbo version. Later on, they did develop a single turbo, which would be a one motor version of this car, but the release date for this was 1989. This did take a 9.6 volt battery with a high and low gear like they all usually have, and you can see by flipping this over that it is indeed a twin turbo by seeing there you got 2 motors in the back, you can see, and there you have it, the twin turbo Lambo. These things were really fast. Next up, we have the Grabber 4-wheel drive. These were a little small 4-wheel drive 9.6 volt buggy, not really known for their speed or anything like that. I'm not too familiar with these earlier model ones, but kind of a neat little car and not too common as far as I know anyways. Also released in 1989 was the twin turbo Aero Hopper. This thing was pretty radical with 2 giant wings, and you know what, I didn't like this one at first, but after a while it is pretty neat. And again, twin turbo, so it's going to be another really fast toy grade RC. Also released in 1989 was the Turbo Aero Hopper. This was not a twin turbo car, however it does have high and low and takes a 9.6 volt battery pack, and you see that it does have kind of a hood pin on there, which would resemble what a hobby grade RC would also have, which I thought was cool. The front tires on this may be wrong. You can correct me in the comments on this vehicle, but this is how it would have come otherwise. Here we have another legendary twin turbo vehicle, very similar to the Lamborghini Countach. This is the Ferrari 348, released in 1991. Now this also did come in yellow, which is a bit more rare, as well as the Lamborghini Countach. Also, that one was also available in black, of course, and they basically have the same chassis underneath them with just a different body, both having high and low, super fast, super popular vehicles, and plenty of these out there. But again, if you drive one of these, you definitely will not forget it. These are extremely fast for consumer / toy grade RC, and even to this day they definitely hold their own. Released in 1992 was the Tyco Wild Thing, at least this version of it. There was previous versions, more bland colors, but this thing, I believe, not only does cool stuff, but it just looks cool, and it's one of the fastest. It's advertised as one of the more fast Tyco turbo hoppers. Now, this wasn't a twin turbo car, but this is a 9.6 volt, extremely fast, reliable, with the head turning. It's just really cool, wild colors. And something you want to take note is Tyco started getting into more, you know, unrealistic but action type toys. So not only did they last a long time and still were a lot of fun, but the speed kind of slowed down and the functionality kind of went up, if you know what I'm saying. So it seemed as if they made the toys do more cool, entertaining things to keep you interested, but they did indeed slow a lot of these cars down. Here you can see both versions of the Tyco Wild Thing. I think these are the best versions with the wild colors. It just screams 90s or late 80s, and it's just such a timeless piece and extremely fast, fun, reliable for a toy / consumer grade car. Smash the like button and hit subscribe if you want to see more of Jerry Jr.'s Garage. Toy cars, auto enthusiast stuff, builds. I'm not really the Harley Daniels of the torque wrench, but I try. So thanks for watching, and like I said, smash the like button, hit subscribe. Thanks for watching.
All battery packs and chargers not included, sold separately.
Battery packs and chargers not included, sold separately.